thank you for that presentation. That's a lot to digest. All the time.
Yeah, sorry.
Would you have a handout of
No,
the presentation?
this is my first time presenting to a council, and if I ever do it again, I'll definitely have a handout, but I don't have one today.
Like a PowerPoint or something, so that we can disperse it for discussion.
All I have are the slides on my computer. I'm learning as it goes on, but I guess I can go back through slides and discuss if you guys want to know specific information.
Okay. I was just thinking something to take home.
Take home.
And digest.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I should have done that.
Okay, any questions of immediate concern?
With this advanced timeline, it would be pushed for the city government to get a bill written up and get it approved by the council to vote on in that such short time frame. I guess it's possible it could be done.
It is a short time period. I have a lot of questions myself that, you know, I'm not sure now. Well, I'll just throw a couple out. I'm curious about how stormwater fits into the park.
That wasn't my choice. That's just how the state statute is written. It's attached. Stormwater's attached to that I guess bill or whatever.
The authorization.
Yeah, it's
authorization for the sales tax is parks and stormwater.
Yeah. I didn't just to like pull something out of the hat and throw it on there. That's how it's
There's legislative history and reason.
Okay. Well, that explains that. And I need to research.
It doesn't make logical sense. It's just that there are two lobbying groups that got together to run a statute through.
Okay.
Friend of a friend.
Yes, a friend of a friend.
Friend of a friend.
Any other questions?
Okay.
On the name change, is there any issues statute-wise that will prevent us from changing the name that you're aware of?
There isn't, I guess, for public discussion, what is the advantage of changing the name?
For us, we think that if you call it Board of Parks and Recreation instead of just Park Board, it really tells everybody more what we do or what we want to strive for. Not just having a park that people can go to, but actually creating programs in addition to having facilities. So
It's a broader sense of the program.
Okay.
yes.
So who, if the tax did pass, who would decide how it is apportioned to the different projects that you listed up there?
Yeah, I noticed that just like the stormwater was 5%. If I remember.
Like I said, those numbers, those are kind of arbitrary. That's that's what I thought. We didn't have our park board meeting last night. It had to be postponed, so I didn't have a chance to show it to them. So those are just me. Throw those away. They could be completely changed. They don't mean anything.
Normally, this council, would determine the apportionment, and the Parks and Recreation Board would determine how their portion of it was spent. So that may be subject to your approval, or you're approving their budget. That's up to you.
Okay. So the park board would not receive the total dollars to distribute it?
Like the cigarette tax. We had cigarette tax.
Right.
Yeah, would that do
Part of it went-
revenue from the cigarette tax then?
I would hope not, but I can understand if you want to take that money and put it somewhere else.
That was a vote. They did. They did so much.
Yeah, at the time, I think they were looking for a funding source, and that was close. But I mean, that could change. If the tax were approved, then the cigarette tax money could possibly be reallocated.
You have to go.
Yeah, that will. But as far as the name change, if there's no restriction, I'll make a motion to go ahead and I'll make a motion to change that to the Parks and Recreation, whatever the name was.
Board of Parks and Recreation.
Board of Parks and Recreation. I'll make that motion.
That won't cause, that won't cause any conflict on any paperwork or anything.
We'll have to change it in the ordinance.
I mean, do you have a million letterheads with
No, just an ordinance change.
Just
So the new ordinance would have to be drawn up.
And that's the motion.
Yeah. Keeps our attorneys busy that way. Okay, we have a motion to change the name to,
Board, Parks and
Board of
Recreation.
Parks and Recreation.
I'd say.
second by Rayburn. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We got one of your requests.
Yeah. Well, that's positive, right?
That's a start.
Halfway there.
Yeah.
On the second one, I want it on paper. I'm not going to be a little difficult with you, but I want it on paper, so I'm going to go over it and ask more questions in detail.
Okay. What I can do, does everybody have an email address here?
Sharon has council email.
Okay, so I can send it to you and then they send it out.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion?
But you have to have that on the ballot.
Yeah, so in order for it to be on the November ballot, it has to be on August 28th. So you can vote in August. I know we're pushing it a little bit. It's been a kind of a slow process, but we're here now. So.
Has the business community been contacted to get input on their fees?
So I did contact, I've spoken with a few individuals, but I haven't contacted businesses because I didn't want to move forward before we have moved forward. You know, so I haven't contacted the Sports Association or Hope or anybody else because I didn't want to move forward with them before anything actually happened.
I would like to see some kind of recommendation from all the organizations you mentioned, Park or Chamber of Commerce, Saddle Club,
Okay.
and say that they're willing to participate
Okay,
and to join forces.
all right. That should be.
Because at least that's a letter of intent for them to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're gonna have to have their support if it's gonna pass. Yeah, for sure.
Looks like you got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, I always do. That's all right.
But the money would stay in Holt.
Yes, we're not gonna go spend money.
We've had a prior initiative that dispersed the money area-wide. I just want to make sure that we're.
No, this would stay important. And the nice thing with the sales tax is it's not just people who live here that are paying it, it's anybody who comes in and buys something in the community.
Okay. We'll anticipate a report from the business community.
Okay, so I guess I'll hold off on the presentation and I'll just put all that together.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that'll work.
One more question. You want, is there any way for that to go down anymore, or is it just going to be?
Half cent is the most, and after speaking with Tracy, she said that she recommended half cent, but it can be a quarter cent or it could go as low as an 8 cents.
Did I miss what it would generate?
The average, based on the past 5 years, would be about $128,000.
Not for the park board,
That's what the sales tax would generate.
The sales.
Yes.
for the total sales tax.
That's what it says.
For that half cent sales tax.
At half cent.
Okay, okay. I was sitting in
That's a nice chunk of change.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Got a few questions clarified. Thanks again. Okay, moving on to the agenda, committee organization updates. Do we have any committee organizations that would like to bring us up to date on your activities? Seeing none. Old business. Chapter 54 business license final review and discussion.
Okay, following last month's council meeting, Sam and I got together and we made those changes we recommended at the last council meeting, and they're incorporated in here. The main one was raising the fee from $25 to $30 a year. And let's see, it's still 25 on this copy, I don't know what happened, it's supposed to be 30. And that the vendor exemption would apply to those events sponsored by the city as well. And then we changed some language because we don't have a collector of the city. We had to change that to city clerk. Very reasonable. So we got to get both sides. Some businessmen don't have a problem with it. Carter says some do.
On page 4, paragraph number 3. It says, the Holden Chamber of Commerce shall pay a fee of $35 for electricity used during the rodeo
It's been
event,
deleted.
and a fee of $250 for extra security, cleanup, and other costs incurred by the city of Holden. It goes on to state that electricity used during the Holden City Fair is metered separately from the city of Holden and paid by the Chamber of Commerce. I have no argument with that last statement about the electricity. However, the first part of that paragraph says that the rodeo event,
That was supposed to have been deleted, Sharon. When we were making those changes. That should have been deleted somewhere.
the whole paragraph,
No, the part about the $35 for rodeo events. They just paid the $250 for the extra cleanup, but that $35 for electricity was supposed to have been deleted.
I didn't know that.
Somehow they didn't get out of there.
Okay.
Because I
They're
were-
not gonna pay electricity.
No, not for the rodeo.
Okay.
And it's metered separately for the fair. and
so $250 for extra security, cleanup, and other costs.
Right.
So what about the fair? Will there be an extra
No,
cost
they
for the fair?
metered it. And
No, forget the electricity. It says, for extra security, cleanup, and other costs incurred by the city.
Right.
That's for the rodeo.
No,
What about the
the?
fair?
No, it's supposed to have been for the fair.
What's this area?
It says the
I
rodeo.
know.
So how should that read?
Well, it should have been, the Holden Chamber of Commerce will pay a fee of $250 for extra security, cleanup, and other costs incurred by the city of Holden. That's during the fair, during the Holden City Fair.
So nothing for the rodeo?
Nothing for the rodeo.
No cleanup, no security?
No, they take care of that all themselves.
Okay. We need
There's
that
no
clarified.
city costs involved in that.
So the city pays approximately $2,200 for security, and we pay comp time for trash, so we're gonna get $250 for a 3-day fair for
Well,
security.
yeah, for the extra amounts.
Okay.
Because the fair brings in a lot of money to the city, a lot of tax revenue to the city, which should, I hope, more than make up for the.
They pay out twice as much of it too.
No, I'm saying that the revenue that people bring in when we have the Holden City Fair should more than cover the $2,200 that are our normal expenses.
Well, the city gets no money from the fair directly, the city gets sales tax.
Yeah, you sales tax.
So what,
Well, they get $250 now plus sales tax.
Don't they get a fee from the
They
carnival?
get rid.
no,
No, the carnival doesn't pay
City
it.
get rid.
no,
Okay,
that's been
that's been
ignored
excluded
for
from
the last,
From
What's
the,
our this says carnival's 100 per year.
it does say that not.
that's in the current ordinance, right?
You know, it's on this one.
Okay.
Page 3, carnival. It says bank investment company, 100, carnival's 100, circus 100.
But I thought they were exempt.
No.
Number 2.
No, the carnival still, I think, has to pay their city license.
I don't really think you know what you're doing.
Okay, on page 4, paragraph 2, exemptions. Transient vendors operating during the Holden Chamber of Commerce sponsored fair and rodeos are exempt from obtaining a business license, so
But we put in the sentence, the one that you had mentioned last month, we put that in there. Sharon, what happened to all those changes that we made on that computer that day I was in the office? None of these showed up. None of them showed up on this.
Number 4 is gone.
Well, on number 4 is gone, but the ones that, where we added in that sentence about the city-sponsored events. That's missing. Paragraph 3 is different.
Take a look, go back and fix this.
Now we'll go back and, okay, let's go back and take a look at that.
Why don't we put this off? I mean, it's nothing really pressing on what
No.
we do it tonight or next.
We just want to do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get with Sharon, I'll get with Sharon and do that.
And we'll get with Sharon
Okay.
and,
Because I've got my draft that I had with me that day.
Okay, very good.
We'll get it right.
Any other concerns, questions? If not, we'll move on to new business. Under new business, approve Walker Variety and Paul's and Nemal's to sell city lake permits. Any discussion on that agenda item? They've requested to sell them, therefore.
What's our accountability for the permits?
They are numbered when dispersed to the business, and then we collect the revenue from the sale of those permits. So the permits are numbered and accounted for.
I'll make a
and
motion
those two
to-
places would be logical places to sell. So
And
I would, it takes the most time to approve.
is there a second to that motion?
Second.
I'll second, Mike seconded.
Okay, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next is approve hiring street department employee Christopher Ralston. He has completed his probationary period, doing a fine job and an asset to the street department. Any discussion on that action?
Is he getting raised for taking off probation?
Yes.
Can we put him back on probation for a little longer?
What?
Can we put him back on probation for a little longer, save us a little more money? No? How's he performing?
take his place for his way?
Oh, no, no. I take it he's doing very well. Your recommendation is good.
His recommendation is to employ him.
Well, I make a motion to hire him.
Motion by Carter to employ Christopher Ralston,
Second.
second by Larkin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is zoning board recommendation. The public hearing was held on June 28th. It is the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve the request to place a mobile home at 403 South Clay. Any discussion?
Yeah, myself and Mr. Zoom all attended that and heard nothing but good. There was quite a bit of neighbors there and they were all for it, so.
Well, I'm one of the neighbors and I'm for it.
You're right, and I'm on the other side of them, so we're getting rid of an old junk and putting in something decent and bringing good people to town, so.
Okay.
We're not setting the precedence for, how is that zoned right now for residential?
Zoning, or commercial residential, right?
It's residential.
Residential.
Zoning, yeah.
Yeah, there was an old mobile home there before.
I know it was.
We're getting rid of old and getting rid of good. That ought to be good.
Okay.
I think it's on the outskirts of town.
The
Very
neighbors,
good.
I mean, the neighbors around there don't have any objection.
All of them did sensors, bad letters. Actually, there's quite a few that showed up. The Barrett showed up, they'll be right across from them. One beside them is Al West, he was there. Guy Garlic signed off on it, he's very good. And, Girl Hearts were there.
The zoning board approved, I mean, they recommend approval.
Yep.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve the Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation to rezone 403 South Clay and to accept the mobile home.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Clarkin,
Second.
second by Carter.
One thing I like to make and I've been on the zoning board commission before years ago, and what you do for one section, you have to do for the others. I mean, like,
You don't have to.
no, you don't have to, but I saw something happen, this is years ago. They treated one person one way and they treated another person another way, so you have to be very careful in another part of town, and maybe somebody wants to put a nice,
That was one of the things, it's zone commercial / residential, so the rules.
No, it's zone residential.
Residential, it's zone
It's
commercial,
not
residential.
it's not commercial, it's residential.
So they're not open to the further.
But the next time somebody may want to put a beautiful trailer up someplace where you don't particularly want it, you have to think about that. You have to treat everybody the same.
Those neighbors would say no, but these neighbors.
I hate to tell one person one thing in one part of town, another person.
And I guess it would also be about, the neighbors.
Yeah,
The neighbors were
I don't
responsible.
have objection to it whatsoever. But I think you just have to be careful that you don't make different rules for a different area.
You've got an ordinance that provides for placing manufactured homes on individual lots, less than a mobile home park. So it just has to go through the process.
Yeah, each one comes in individually. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, we had one over my ward also, and they came through, it was the same situation, and it was approved, it's long gone now, but for a little while, we had a mobile home in there.
But I know years ago, they let, one person put a trailer, something in one place, and another part of town, they didn't let somebody do it.
Well, we're not going to go on that.
At which time I resigned from the zoning commission.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is horse trail clearing at the city lake request. I think Larry wants to address that.
Yeah, we've been having issues coming through City Hall about the horse trails that we don't have at the Holden City Lake. We don't advertise on the Missouri Conservation website. We don't advertise anywhere that we have horse trails out there. But we have individuals that ride horses, and I don't know how they've got the information that we have horse trails out there, through maybe through the saddle club in the past and stuff like that, that are just wanting to come in and start cutting brush to open up, I guess, what was original horse trails a long time ago. And I just wanted to get some guidance from the city council.
They're gonna do it, or they're gonna hire it then?
No, there's just one lady that's actually came to us twice that, I think she's from like the Higginsville area or someplace like that, to come down here and ride her horse. And she was commenting on the original trails. Linda, you may have more input on this, but I don't ride horses. I don't know nothing about it, but I did do some investigation, and nowhere that I can find do we provide information showing that we provide horse trails. So,
South Country should cut the trails.
right, and we worked, and I talked with Phil at the Saddle Club, and they were gonna have some events out there and do some rides, and in return the city would go ahead and waive the fee for the day for them to go out there, and they're gonna do some rides and do some maintenance. Well, that's all been postponed, so now the trails grew up a little bit more. So this lady wanted to take it upon herself to go in there and start cutting some of the trail. So I wanted to get some input from the city council, how they felt about this individual going out there and start cutting brush.
Who's to decide where the trail will be?
Maybe you should
I tell you one thing you have to do, and I found this out many years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Park board.
Everybody in the conservation area.
Tell her she votes yes.
You do not, they have to prove it. And then they need to-
Yeah, I know.
We have a late contract, but that's
They don't.
managed.
Because she told us, stand right in here, that it's our lake.
Yeah, one time we improved a bunch of trails out there, and we almost had to pay a big fine for the conservation. This goes back a lot of years.
Well, the conservation-
A lot of years.
I talked to conservation, and the conservation keeps telling us, this is our lake.
Okay.
They don't care what we do to our lake. So I think more is what I'm asking guidance here is, do we want individuals just going out there and start cutting brush? Do we want the liability of individuals being out there doing things? You know, if the Saddle Club wants to organize a day out there,
It used to be the Bill Murphy thing.
Right.
But our insurance covers that, doesn't it? Not why we have,
Not now.
huh?
Not now, you got the wrong one.
anything that puts a liability on the city needs to be encouraged. So my personal feeling is, open to council comment, is that anything that's done out there needs to be coordinated with the city so that we know what's going on.
So if the Saddle Club wanted to do an organized ride out there and do some clearing like they've done in the past, that would be agreeable. But as far as just individuals from outside the Saddle Club or organization like that, then we need to keep them from cutting brush out there, right?
Tell them to ride to Higginsville.
Well,
Yeah.
I just had a wonderful presentation by Mr. Wakeman about the Board of Parks and Recreation, and he mentioned the city lake a number of times. I think that if we want to have an oversight of this activity, I think the park board is the one that should be the oversight committee. I think they should be the ones that decide who can and what rules and what liability and what everything else. I mean, we've got things to set up.
I don't know about letting them set the rules.
Yeah.
They can't set the rules, but they can bring the rules that they propose to the council.
Choose council
Yeah.
approval.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that they can establish their rights and rules and how they would like it handled. But I think that the organization that should have the oversight of activities out at the lakes is we're going to be the Parks and Recreation organization. I think this is a prime opportunity to let them have opportunity to come up. They heard they're faced with a problem. They want some horse trails out there. Let the park board decide what to do about it. Sounds to me like a prime example of a park board. Park board
They
comes up
can't
with.
do that.
No, I'm not asking them to do it. I'm asking them to come up with some way to accomplish what is desired to be done. And then bring it to the council and see what we think about it.
So in other words, give permission to the Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, they have to have money first, so.
Yeah.
They have to get up at a time.
Just vote yes, is that it?
Well, I'm saying that if they're going to talk to these organizations, and you mentioned that with other people, here's a prime opportunity for them to get the involvement of the activities that would like to use the horse trails and use the lake facility, and let the Park and Recreation Board conduct the discussions, get the information, bring it to the council for our consideration and approval of how they'd like to address trails, horse trails out in the park area. And I'm just saying, I think that's a prime thing for the park board, Park and Recreation Board to take undertake.
Yeah, they're not
They're not going to
organized yet, Jim, so
When that time comes.
it's up to us.
Right, I think we're a step ahead of where we need to be.
Okay, well, maybe so.
Yeah.
That's my thought. That would be the prime place for something like that.
Liability wise, I don't think we can just allow.
No.
people out there to start that.
Well, I don't either. I don't think the park board, Park and Recreation Board would want it.
Start to get your mouth around. We'll just go back to the old name.
PNR, Board of PNR.
I'll teach my mouth how to say.
This change is gonna go
Board.
Larry, I'm sure there's a maintenance supervisor over the city lake. Is that correct? Falls under your umbrella of task.
Right now.
Would it be possible if a group of people came to you wanting to define the work they wanted to perform, and you could say, it's okay, I just have to get council's approval?
That's fine, I was more, at one time, I thought we had something worked out with the Saddle Club, and that fell through. But just individuals, just like a lady out there riding a horse and cutting brush.
That's why I said a group, or a group of individuals that want to perform the work. Let you be the contact person, and I think that you, the different hats that you wear, I would feel comfortable with your recommendation to that group, whether they were going to be performing the work safely and correctly, and you could give them input on what to do, what not to do, as far as vehicles driving out there, where they're wanting to do the cutting and rutting up the place. You would know, no, we can't do that, but, maybe a four-wheeler driving out there with a small wagon and a chainsaw to do some cutting, that'd be different.
Yeah, like I say, I don't ride horses, I don't know what the Saddle Club is doing, but I feel comfortable with the Saddle Club going out there doing stuff, or an organization like theirs, but as far as an individual, I think we just need to stay away from that kind of stuff.
Agreed.
Are we, is that a consensus of the council that Larry has control of the city? Okay.
And then as far as the park deal, if they can put us stormwater money, I'm all for it, because there is no place that I've found that we can get any kind of grants or federal money or anything for stormwater, that we can tag on through them and get some grants and money like that, that would be great.
And I'm running into the same problem. There's a few grants out for street repair, but we can't get them because we don't have curbs or sidewalks. And then the infrastructure below the road is not going to be suitable. So I mean, there's any little place we can plan, and I kind of curved that a little bit, but what happened to the stormwater project? We had an engineer come here. Never heard any more out of him.
Well, he and I attended meetings in Clinton, and we ran into the same roadblock, as you just said. There are no grants out there. It takes a bond issue to address your stormwater major problems. And a bond issue, the city's assessed valuation is $18 million. You know, it would take about an 85-cent levy over a 10-year period to generate sufficient money to get a handle on stormwater. Do the citizens of Holden want to spend 85-cent tax levy for stormwater on their assessed valuation, in addition to the other taxes that we have? So it's an add-on of 85. And my figures are not exact, but that's what he and I ran into. So we've kind of put it on hold. I would be more than glad to have an engineer come to the city council and address the roadblocks that we encounter. Everybody knows that we have a problem. The problem is we don't have assessed valuation like Odessa, Oak Grove, and so forth to support a bond issue that would address the millions of dollars required to tackle the whole problem. If we want to do it in segments, it might be doable. But right now, you know, there's an estimate of $2 to $5 million just to get started. So anyway, it's a major problem. What comment?
I didn't hear who you went to the meeting with.
The engineer from West and...
Oh, Jim Ross from Bartlett?
Yes.
Okay, I was actually going to ask if he had any input from him. Somebody approved him to go ahead.
Right, he's emailed the city, you know, and he's talked to me on the phone, and there's really nothing I can give you positive. If you would like to hear it from him, we can invite him to the next council meeting.
Is there any way, anything he gives us that we can pursue just a little bit besides funding? Because I remember there was some talks about the Kaufman Stadium and everything, funds and stuff like that.
Well, those are monies, as I understand it, to match a grant. There are no grants. So, you know, they have grants from Kaufman Stadium, but not for stormwater. I mean, I'll just invite him to the next council meeting. He's much more attuned and detailed than I am. I just didn't like what he was sharing. Because it wasn't anything I could bring back and say, let's go. Okay. Any other, are you satisfied, Larry?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, under liquor consumptions, we have Jamie McCaskill birthday party on July 15th from 6 p.m. until 12 a.m. We have a motion to approve liquor consumption for a birthday party. Motion by Clarkin, second by Carter. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is new liquor license application approval. We had the hearing at 6:45. Now we need a action on the approval of the liquor license application.
We did.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did.
You've got to have a motion.
We have to
Approve
vote.
it.
I move that we approve.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the new liquor license application. Any discussion?
I'm against it just for some reason. It's just, I don't like the idea, nothing personal. It's just, you're putting packages together, you know, are you gonna be selling them online? Or are you just selling them in a store?
I will deliver them if somebody orders them, whether they do it from the phone or.
I just, Teresa Moore came in last time, wanting, not roughly the same, but kind of the same, and I'd rather have to deliver some liquor stores. If you want it, that's the way to go. This is my personal feeling. And I can't stop someone from trying to improve business a little bit. So,
I mean, if they want to come in and buy a bottle off the shelf, obviously they could,
sure, I understand.
but
It's
it's
just,
not going to be a big percentage of my sales.
I just, my personal opinion, I think liquor belongs in the liquor store or the gas station. You know, I don't like the gas station selling liquor personally.
Yeah, but they don't make the little gift baskets.
Any other comment? Okay, we have a motion.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second to approve the liquor license application. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Dang.
One abstain and one no. Two no, I'm sorry. Motion carried. Okay, and the mayor's comments. I'd like to read a brief statement. In May, I brought the city a special attorney proposal to represent the city. After our city attorney informed the council he would have a conflict of interest between the city and the Board of Public Works should a pending, and I emphasize pending, legal situation proceed. The council suggested an interview be held of the special attorney. I called a special meeting on May 25th, at which time the special attorney was present to meet and answer questions from the council. On a 3-2 vote, the council approved the memorandum of understanding from special counsel to provide legal assistance without cost to the city and only when and if needed. The city attorney has validated the vote in a legal opinion, which was shared in an email to every council member. Tonight, I signed the memorandum of understanding to give the city the opportunity to have legal counsel when and if the need arises. That's all I have under mayor comments. Approval of appropriations.
Rick, can I make one comment? And it's on the billing. And on there it said telephone call with reporter Raver. And I've never worked with him.
They blamed you for that, not me.
Anyway, I just wanted to bring that out.
I'm sure that's an oversight.
Yeah, it was just a mistake of, maybe they didn't understand it. Maybe.
Right, yeah. Secretarial, clerical error, probably.
On the same billing, there's two on the back, dated 6/21, 112.50 and 37.50. I think that should be slid off to a BPW bill instead of paying it.
Which one is that?
The second and third one.
I'll review Barrett request for minutes of May 10 meeting, videos of June 14th meeting, and other issues. Phone conference with City Clerk Manford to respond to that inquiry. So it was really a Board of Public Works representative request to the city attorney. So you're right, that should be a Board of Public Works expense, not a city expense.
Because it makes $150 off a $900 bill.
Okay, $150 off. Plus the 3750.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, 150.
And just for future reference, for the public, there were some phone calls made by councilmen that, I mean, the city cost of the total bill is $305, Mr. Nipco, your phone calls cost $337.50. Stan was $37.50. I mean, the questions that you're addressing could have been addressed at City Hall once we were going to call the city attorney and get his opinion anyways. So actually, we're getting charged twice for the same. On one of them, we're getting charged twice for the same opinion, but 2 different times. It's kind of a waste of money here again. There's no reason why we're having a $900 lawyer bill.
As I recall, the mayor was scrutinized about a year ago for excessive legal fees by the council. Now we have council, in my opinion, having excessive legal bills unnecessarily. So it's kind of a, which way do we want it? We want to keep our costs down, or do we want to just spend at random when we have a whim to call the city attorney?
Don't see my name on that.
My personal opinion, if you call the lawyer, you pay for it out of your pocket. And why I call
Bill me for that call.
Huh?
Bill me for that call. That person.
Well, I know I talked to an attorney, I pay for it myself, because I'm here to save the city money, and that costs you money.
Yeah, but if we try to go to attorney meetings, we have legal representation through the city attorney, we're not allowed to do that. We have to go through our attorney that's representing us, I believe, isn't that correct?
But that first phone call from Councilman Raber on a 3-2 vote, I believe we have record that Councilman Raber and Councilman Nepco concurred with the vote that night. So why was a call made after they concurred publicly with that vote?
And then the following council meeting, we agreed that we would contact the attorney for verification that it was correct, because you brought up the issue at the meeting.
If you don't get it the way you want it, that's not an excuse to call the city attorney. A vote is a vote.
And also, I mean, we got an ethics committee report here, or a complaint.
I probably should not comment on that at this time, since the Ethics Commission has not issued a they have not rendered a decision on that complaint that was filed by a councilman following this phone call. Well, no, it was registered before the phone call, excuse me. Well, let me look at the dates here, there's so many different dates. No, the phone call and the 3-2 vote was on June 3rd. The ethics complaint form with the State Ethics Commission was filled out and dated June 11th. So the ethics complaint was filled out after the phone call by Councilman Raber. So, but I can't comment on the details of that complaint since they have not issued a public
Back to what we were discussing was, I mean, I understand he's the lawyer, so I call my lawyer to get my personal opinion, so I don't want to go off the mouth and get sued. I run by him. He tells me this, don't say this, say this, don't do this. It costs me personal money, but I don't have to send it to the city to say. I'm just trying to say, but now if I have a question, then that way it should be brought to, at least to Sharon, and I ask Sharon, because 9 times out of 10, she usually has the answer before I have to call the attorney. And then she can slide it in on another call that she's got to do normal business with.
Did you have an opinion on the question I had about legal representation?
My position would be that our firm represents the city. That means we are a resource to the city and are available to respond to questions that you may have with regard to your duties as elected representatives of the city. I will tell you that we represent a lot of cities around, and some cities have policies about individual council members or aldermen contacting us, and others don't. Others kind of say that's a resource that needs to be available to you as the elected officials. And some say, okay, if you've got a question, run it through the mayor, run it through the city clerk, the city administrator, run it through a department head or something like that. And we are tasked with addressing questions from specific people. To my knowledge, you guys, City of Holden has not given us instructions to not deal with individual council members, so we do, because you are elected officials and are entitled to the use of that resource until you decide some other way. Does that answer your question? It's not a simple yes or no, but you don't get those from a lawyer.
If we were to change it, we'd have to change the contractual agreement that we have with you to.
No, all you have to do is give us directions. If you say, hey, there's too much individual communication with the council, or with the attorney, let's do it this way. You decide that all questions will be run through the city clerk. Then we will, you just tell us, hey, talk to the city clerk, answer the questions that are submitted by the city clerk.
Well, I might point out to the rest of the council that we have a line item in our budget for $35,000 for legal fees, and last year we were $9,000 under budget. Since we do have a balanced budget, it is something that's figured into our city budget, so it's the.
I might point out that $35,000 is not just for legal fees.
Well,
That pays our city prosecuting attorney and many other things, as has been pointed out.
Just because we got 35,000, it doesn't mean we got to max it out or try to. You know, here in the last year or two, we've been getting pretty dang close. I mean, it's just, I see wasteful spending happening here. In my opinion, I think we should step up to the plate and at least go through City Hall first. If
Those are taxpayer dollars.
If we like the answer or we don't, that's the right thing to do there. Instead of receiving $9 bills, I mean, I don't want to make the man start payments.
So this memorandum that the mayor signed tonight, is that considered an engagement letter to do business with Whopper? Is that considered a type of contract? The memorandum that you signed?
It's a memorandum of understanding that was approved by the council on a 3-2 vote.
So is it tied to an ordinance or a resolution?
Not at this time. It's a memorandum of understanding. It gets us someone that's going to be there when and if they're needed.
So if the time comes that we need them, will we have to approve that as a council, as an ordinance?
Yes.
Or a resolution. There's a couple different ways we can do it.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to do it, but it'll be done legally and properly. I do not want this city to be without legal representation when and if it's needed.
So I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Okay, we have a motion by Weeks to pay the bills. Second by Clarkin. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We've taken care of item 6 on the agenda. We have reports of committees and all other business. We'll start with Councilman Weeks.
Of course, fishing derby, Saturday, July 30th, 8:30 registration, 9/11, at City Lake, 11 o'clock, lunch is served. Are you cooking, Mr. Rick?
I believe Mr. Councilman Clark is cooking.
Or are you cooking?
Next on the report, cooking hot dogs at the fishing derby, possibly, if he's able. He's been able the last 2 years.
Yeah.
That's on the 30th.
Yes, sir. Saturday, July 30th. It was pretty decent last year. We had a big crowd. And we're catching fish.
Pretty decent for you.
Exactly.
Starts, registration is 8:30, it starts at 9, is that
It
correct?
starts at 9/11, and what you do is every fish that you caught, they go up and weigh it up, and they give prizes for the maximum weight, girls, boys, babies, and everybody gets a prize, all the kids get something going on with it. It's usually pretty fun. And DPW, it was kind of short and sweet. Everybody got their package for DPW. They're applying for an operator's permit for the new structure. They have to, I guess they started a new structure, they have to apply for a new permit, and they have to do that every 3 years. Same old with them, basically. PD, the new patrol car's been out on the road. The only way to tell the difference, one's got a push car, the other one does not. It's running on the road, it's been patrolling for about a month now. We have one small issue with the charger we just bought. It's a sensor that went out, $40 to replace it, put it back on the road. We come to find out that it's a normal thing, it just happens. So we're looking to buy an extra one. So, other than that, it's good there. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Nipko. Councilman Pike.
Andrew said it all for me.
Sam. Jim.
Well, two of the questions I had, one you answered about Jim Ross of Department West, who we signed a letter agreement to check into stormwater, how we can proceed forward with some funding, right? He's looking for grants and opportunities available. And the other question was, I had forwarded a picture to Sharon on taxes on vehicles that are sold outside of the state, but the citizens living in the city limits, has to be voted on by our city government. Maybe, I don't know, I didn't read all the fine print. There's 4th class, 3rd class.
Yeah, please address that.
You're correct, the issue was raised. Holden adopted an ordinance in 1999 approving that tax, and you do not have to take any actions at this time.
Great. Is that
Technically, it's a use tax, it's like the sales tax. If you buy a car in Kansas instead of Missouri, you don't pay the sales tax in Missouri, you pay a use tax because this is where the car is used. And many cities adopted ordinances passing sales taxes on new vehicles, but not use taxes. But they collected the use tax because it was considered the same. And last year, the legislature said, no, it's different. And if you didn't pass an ordinance authorizing a use tax, then you either have to say you're not going to collect the use tax, or you've got to affirmatively pass an ordinance authorizing the continued collection of the use tax. You had already passed the ordinance, so you don't have to take any action. Sorry about that long explanation.
I see a business opportunity here. Start a car lot, we'll charge a city tax about outside the city.
Bad idea.
That's a potentially quite a bit of revenue that the city would be losing out on if we didn't already have that ordinance passed. That's good.
I think we had like $6,000 or something like that. I'm not sure exactly.
This year was 30,000.
30,000.
Yeah.
Big darn deal.
Very good. Okay, anything else?
Motion adjourned.
I second.
Okay. Motion and second. Adjourned. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. Betsy, glad you did it.